I'm Reese Stein, at your leisure in one of the most remote corners in the state of Utah. But underneath these dramatic limestone mountains lies one of the most spectacular attractions in the state that you've likely never heard of.
For all of his 69 years, Gerald Bates has been roaming Gandy Mountain on the edge of the Snake Range. He knows all the plants intimately, like Mormon tea.
For quite a few years they sold it in health food stores, but it's against the law now because it's got ephedra.
After the botany lesson, Gerald continues to lead our family up a narrow, dusty trail just half a mile inside the Utah-Nevada state line to the entrance to a family treasure.
Well, I don't know whether you're interested kind of in the history of the cave.
Oh, yes.
My uncle found it in '56.
Your uncle found it?
Yeah.
He discovered it?
Mm-hmm.
The treasure is hidden behind a stubborn iron door.
Well, couldn't get it open.
It is Crystal Ball Cave, a unique natural wonder some 15 million years in the making. A subterranean wonderland meticulously sculpted by water. Now, you likely have been to nearby Lehman Caves or Timp or Carlsbad, but Crystal Ball Cave has special charm.
This cave is different from most caves you'll see because it's got calcite crystal. Everything you look at is covered with calcite crystal. There's about 10 inches to a foot on everything. So at one time this cave was completely filled with water, which formed the calcite crystal. And then after the water went out, then we get the drip formations, which are the stalactites and the stalagmites.
So much for the geology lesson. How about a little biology? The cave's local residents linger just long enough to have their picture taken before our lights scatter this colony of long-eared bats into the black recesses of the cave.
Well, when you first get in, I got a little scared because there's a whole bunch of bats and stuff. But now, I'm okay now.
This is still a mostly primitive cave. No lights, or paved walkways, or handrails like national park caves. Just the packed dirt trail Gerald has trod for 5 decades.
I can remember the first time I was in here, I thought it was pretty spectacular at that time, being a primitive cave, and we've decided we'd just kind of keep it the same way that it was at that time.
It was different than anything I've ever done. I was led through a cave by a man. I used flashlights. We were all having to work to get through it because of the low ceilings. It's a wonderful experience, and I've been through a lot of caves, but never like this.
This ain't Carlsbad, is it?
This ain't Carlsbad.
And the formations are unlike those in the more familiar caves, including the vast fields of crystals that lent the place its name.
We got right about here, and they were talking about a name for the cave, and my uncle looked at this stuff here, and he says, I'm going to call it Crystal Ball Cave. So have you ever seen that much crystal before? They call this a dogtooth spar crystal, and at the time it was discovered, it was the largest known body of dogtooth spar crystal in the world.
Much of the crystal is coated with eons of sand and dust and is no longer shiny, but there are vast fields of limestone boulders covered with these calcite crystals.
So we having fun yet?
All kinds of formations, including a magnificent stepped stalactite and one of Gerald's favorites.
I like the cave cones because there's not a lot of caves that have cave cones in.
Cave cones or raft cones are unusual stalactites formed underwater. Kenneth likes them too. And there are lots of things here to eat.
We do have a little strip of bacon here. If you went to the grocery store and bought that bacon, you'd probably take it back to them.
And cauliflower, and something Kenneth really likes.
Popcorn.
Bates is as much the attraction as are the rocks.
That's how we go out.
Okay. Oh, really? No. I believed you.
He has the most interesting sense of humor, and he makes it fun and scary at the same time. I've never been in a cave that has offered so much different varieties of rocks, and then he talks about rocks being vegetables, corns, etc. It's just marvelous.
Well,
I'd do it again.
It's an experience like I've never had before. I think everybody ought to come and see a cave that's still pretty wild someday.
I like everything.
To visit Crystal Ball Cave, give Gerald a phone call at 435-693-3145. He'd love to show off his family treasure.
Stay down, you're going to get a bad thump out.
Reese Stein, at your leisure, Gandy, Utah.